I headed off, still fuming over what had happened, but as soon as I stopped at the first light, I sat there watching as ES and EM walked back toward the wedding planner shop a few blocks away. Gunning the engine, I decided right then and there, me and the other sister were going to have a chat. I parked at the bank and went in, not really sure of her last name now, but I knew what she looked like, and there she was, in one of those glassed-in offices. The door marked Investments. I asked one of the employees walking by if I could speak to one of the main managers. Cast for this part, me is me. SVP, Senior Vice President. OES, Other Entitled Sister. MBT, Friend, Teller Supervisor. Me to MBT. Hey, Hal, not real name. I really need to talk to one of the main people in charge. MBT. That would be SVP. He's on today. What's up? Anything wrong with your accounts? Me. Yeah, in a way. Maybe you need to sit in on this. OES hasn't seen me and maybe not know me since high school days. SVP. Hello. MBT says you need to talk with me. What can I do for you? I go into the basic things, account info, how long here, auto payments, things like that, as the SVP types into his computer, verifying everything is accurate. SVP. So, what can I do for you, me? Me. One of your employees has been giving her sister my personal information concerning banking transactions. SVP. Who? I turn and point across the lobby at OES in her office talking with someone. Me. If you don't believe me, try to see if she has logged into my personal information. I know each employee has a login with their password, right? MBT. I can check that. And he proceeds to. It didn't take long. And there it was, a record of inquiries made with her personal password, checking deposits, withdrawals, and evidence of actually making copies of them. SVP, picking up phone. OES, can you come into my office? I stand up as she walks in. MBT. OES, this is me, and we need to have a word with you. I kid you not, I thought I was going to have to catch her from going pale and almost staggering back from me. SVP. You have some explaining to do. Me, can you step outside of the office for a bit? This will not take long. I stand outside the office while she is yelled at by the both of them. A few customers are stopped in their tracks and stare into the office with a few tellers as well, until MBT closes the blinds. But that didn't do too much to muffle the yelling from within. The door opens, and a very upset OES runs out, running into her office and begins to pack up her personal items as a security guard stands by to escort her out, and SVP motions me back into his office. SVP. OES has been dismissed. I am so sorry that this happened. There isn't any words for the behavior of OES. MBT. I hope you won't stop doing business with us. You have the right to leave, but is there anything we can do for you to keep you as a customer and client? Me. I'm going to change my passwords and access info, but I expect you to watch for anything else happening and tell me. I don't like this intrusion into my business. A few more apologies and thank you are exchanged as I walk out, almost bumping into a tearful OES. OES. She made me check you out. I'm sorry. I didn't want to, but her and Mom kept on, and the guard placed a hand and escorted her out of the bank as I left, watching her get into her car and pick up her phone. I know what is coming, so I called my brother to warn him and sister-in-law about what went down, and called the folks as well. By the time I got home, already ES and EM were there, yelling and screaming at me, calling me evil, and how dare you get her fired. By now, the neighbor on either side of my home were outside, trying to see what was going on, as they told my neighbors how I was rotten, trying to get even at her for not dating me, and her mother yelling how I tried for months to RES. I pulled into my garage and closed the door to the yelling and screaming, and called the cops, knowing the cameras were getting the entire sick play outside, recording every word. They were telling my neighbors how I was dealing D, always gone to avoid the feds, how I touched her kids, sleeping with sister-in-law behind brother's back. The only saving grace was when the cop showed up, was when they tried to calm down ES. She slapped the cop hard, and when pressed up against the cop's car, EM actually tried to rip his ear off. Finally handcuffed and in the back of the patrol car, I explained the whole thing as the two witches were screaming at me. I pressed charges of slander and harassment. Once hauled off, I called a tow truck and had their car removed as well. It wasn't long before ES's dad bailed her and EM out, but by then, I had managed to get a restraining order against the two of them and the OES, just in case, and tried to go about my business. But guys, it didn't happen. I was asked to be the best man at my brother's wedding, along with 2 groomsmen, but take a wild guess as to who the maid of honor was and who one of the bridesmaids were. Hope your sister-in-law and brother understands why you went into the bank. After the initial removal of the ES and her EM, I had to actually explain to my neighbors what was happening. But since I wasn't never home that much, I felt useless. Each time I encountered one or more of them in the last few days at home, all I got was stares and pointing. Screw them. I have to deal with all sorts of people, but I don't care for judgmental ones. Anyway, the next day after ES and EM were bailed out, I got a call from Mom asking me to come over. My future sister-in-law and brother were there, and I could tell she had been crying and he was a bit angry. They informed me that her dad told the wedding planner to hold off on making final arrangements for the wedding. Her EM did the same on the dress being altered, since it was the ES's dress for sister-in-law. Cast of characters. Me is me. Mom is mom. Dad is dad. Sister-in-law, future sister-in-law. Bro, bro. WP, wedding planner. PIC, photographer. Me. You mean to tell me that these people are actually holding your wedding hostage? Sister-in-law. Yes. Dad told me to stop everything until you are not included in it. Me. We'll see about that. I took out one of my cards and handed it to Mom. Me. You and Dad take this and go pay for the reception hall in full and make sure the church is paid as well. And you two, motioning to my sister-in-law and brother, come with me. I backed from the driveway and Mom and Dad followed, and I pulled up in front of the wedding planner's shop, and we got out as Mom and Dad passed up, heading toward the hall. Me. Hello. Is owner's name here? WP. Can I help you? Me. Yes, my sister-in-law and bro have a wedding plan through your business, and there seems that there's an issue with her dad putting a hold on his deposit. WP. Yes, here it is. Looking through her files. Seems like he wanted to postpone everything for some reason. Me. How much do you want for everything? WP. I don't understand. Me. What is the total cost for everything? Flowers, your fees, cake, catering, all of it. WP. Well, for the total cost, it's X dollars for everything. I hand her another card. Me. Here, I want to pay it in full, and you can notify him that the bill is taken care of. I hand the receipt to my sister-in-law. Me. Now, let's get you the dress you really want. My bro and sister-in-law are happy for me doing this, but trying to tell me it'll all work out. But I know it won't. This is her day, and no one screws with my family. Sister-in-law. But I'm not family. She's tearing up again. Me. You are now. The episode at the bridal shop is finalized quickly. She already chose her dress, but her ES and EM wanted her to wear ES's dress. Not happening. She wanted the dress in the window, and she got it. Paid in full. I told the woman there to call EM to pick up the now unwanted dress. Last stop. I was told by the guy who took all of ES's wedding pictures, both marriages, was hired to take pictures here. But since Daddy postponed his services, I took them to another guy who I knew from high school and paid him to do both the wedding and the reception. We met up with Mom and Dad and had lunch, taking all receipts and giving them to the sister-in-law and bro for their records, making sure they don't owe anyone anything, especially sister-in-law's family. As we ate, I had to know something. Me. I want to ask you if you still want your family there at the wedding. With a restraining order in effect, either they can't attend or I can't. I know you want your dad to walk down the aisle, so I am willing to bow out. It's easier to find another best man than to replace 3 other people. Sister-in-law. But you've done so much. Tears again. I don't know what to do with everything happening. Me. You tell them I won't be attending either function. Even though they are being jerks, I won't act like a jerk about it. Bro. Come on, man. Look at what you already spent. You deserve to. Me. To do what's right by her. I placed my hand on top of hers. It's settled. You need your family there regardless, right? Sister-in-law nodded her head and we finished lunch and said our goodbyes for the day and watched as they all left together. I got into my car and went back to my bank to sign a statement about the fraud that OES, other entitled sister, did. Not filing charges myself, but comforted in the fact that the bank itself would be. Also, I got free credit monitoring for the duration of my accounts with them, just in case. A few days later, I was off again to New York, then overseas. Hoping the next few weeks before the wedding were going to be good, I wanted to attend, but this was going to be her day and was happy to not exercise any force to include me in it. But still something was nagging me, and I was not sure what exactly it was. Coming back to New York, I was still being nagged by something, and since nothing was mentioned in the few calls to the family, I wasn't completely satisfied all was well. As I sat there, I chatted with a stewardess I had known for a few years since I fly frequently on the airline, shared a few meals in other countries with her, and let's say we were friends with benefits. She told me of plans of kicking back and relaxing during her time off. It was then an idea formalized in my mind. I invited her to my place for one of the weeks, and I'd treat her to a bit of shopping and dining out, but I wanted her help in one of those just-in-case situations, requiring her wearing an identical bridesmaid's dress. After I told her my concerns, she agreed, and we arranged it with the dress shop. Aside from actual alterations, which she would go in the day before the wedding, like I said, I had a feeling something was amiss, and boy was I right. What you did was the greatest thing ever. Even though you paid for the whole wedding, you sacrificed not going to let your sister-in-law's family would be there. You're the best brother-in-law ever. Honestly, I'm truly horrified by the behavior of this family. Your poor sister-in-law for being related to them, and poor you for having to deal with this. And you are absolutely amazing for paying for all of it for them. But I do have to say, it's amazing to read in a kind of unbelievable way. Can't wait to see what else they did that could affect their wedding. Me and my lady friend arrived in town about 2 days before the wedding, and I introduced her to the family the following day, as we both needed a day's worth of rest after the flights from Europe to New York to Arizona. Cast of characters. Me is me. Eve, my partner in crime. Mom, mom. Dad, dad. Bro, brother. Sister-in-law, future sister-in-law. ES, entitled sister. EM, entitled mother. ED, entitled dad. EBF, entitled boyfriend. I introduced Eve to the family, explaining to them she was there to keep my mind off the wedding. Lie. And we ate the night before. Mom telling me that ES, EM, and ED and EBF were super pissed off that I have literally cut them off of the wedding. I paid so the wedding could continue on time. And it was outrageous that I had ES's sister fired, her own doing. Made her dad look cheap. He only paid a deposit, then had it suspended. And how EM was totally embarrassed that she had to pick up ES's dress because it was unwanted. Made my day, actually. After dinner, I took Eve to the bridal shop and had her dress fitted for her and left, grabbing a late supper and movie and planning the next morning, the wedding day. She dressed in the dress, and she actually looked good in pink, but she didn't think so. And I called Mom in case of anything happening, and my gut feelings were spot on. The evening of the wedding arrived, and me and Eve were playing cards when Mom called. It was already 3:30, and the wedding was supposed to start at 3 o'clock. She told me that ES, EM, ED, and EBF had not arrived, but called at 3 o'clock, saying they would be a little late. Then again at 3:15, saying that they can't get there till 3:30. And again just now, it would be 4 o'clock or later until they could get there. I told her to stall a bit and hung up, and we left. Arriving at the church. Mom, I'm glad you're here. Everything is falling apart. Her dad was supposed to walk her down the aisle, and there's only one bridesmaid, and me. Mom, it's okay. Eve's ready to take ES's place. Mom looked at Eve's dress, mouth opened, as she quickly walked past the aisles of guests, mumbling, "Sorry I'm late," and stood beside sister-in-law's best friend, introducing herself to everyone as I went looking for sister-in-law. Sister-in-law. Oh, me. Dad's not coming. I knew they would pull something like this, crying softly into my shoulder. Me. It's okay. I got a replacement bridesmaid out there, and I'll be honored to walk you down the aisle myself. I handed her flowers to her as her phone rang. It was her dad again. ED. I'm so sorry, hun. It seems like at least another hour before we can get there. Maybe you should cancel the reception because it's going to be too late to attend. Sister-in-law. Dad, we can't wait. There's a lot of people here and EM, taking the phone. Well, you're going to have to wait. Your sister needs to be in the wedding party, and your dad is… Me, taking the phone from sister-in-law. No worries. My girlfriend is already taking ES's place. I'm walking sister-in-law down the aisle, and you, well, anyone here can complain like you do. Oh, restraining order is still active. I put her phone in my pocket and proceed to walk her down the aisle, her phone vibrating in my pocket during the entire ceremony. At the reception, after about 20 minutes into it, one of the groomsmen came up to the family, saying that ES, ED, EM, EBF are outside, arguing with the ushers at the door to be let in. But they were told they can't because me is here, and you're not allowed to enter because of restraining order. Mom calls the police as me, Dad, and brother head to the doors. As soon as they see me, they all began cussing and yelling at me, calling me every name in the book as bro and dad start telling them to leave. EBF actually takes a swing at my brother, but his fist is caught by a groomsman and then gets punched in the face hard, staggering back, knocking EM onto her butt. As ED gets his arm turned behind his back by my dad, and he plants a foot against his butt, sending him tumbling down the steps, almost taking ES with him. As ED and EBF stand back up, helping EM to her feet, sister-in-law appears at the top of the steps, forcing herself between me and her new husband. Sister-in-law, you all need to just give up and leave. I am done with the lot of you. EM, I'm still your mother. Sister-in-law, then show some respect to me and leave. ES, who's that W? She yells, pointing to Eve. Eve, more of a lady than you'll ever be. ED and EBF holds ES back as she tries to get to Eve. Eve, just try it. I've stomped more butts tougher than you. Just then the cops show up, having just witnessed the ending insults and yells. I tell them of the restraining order against them, and the three are arrested for violating it, and EBF just left. The rest of the evening was amazing. My brother and his new bride are off to Hawaii on their honeymoon as a gift from mom and dad. Eve and I have a great 2 weeks together, and sister-in-law's family has cut all ties with her, and she couldn't be happier. The OES, bank worker, was sentenced to 4 years for fraudulent actions against customers in an attempt to expose their assets to a third party. I wasn't the only one she checked on for her sister, and will not be allowed to work with another financial institution again. Wow, that was a crazy ride. Hope you don't have to deal with her family again, but I'm thinking it won't be that easy a task as you might think. Somehow, entitled people like this never learn until you stomp on them hard. Keep your lawyer close. This is amazing. I'm sure it seemed pretty awful to sister-in-law when it was happening, but I think this really turned out for the best. Definitely gonna be a wedding that everyone remembers.